All right, so we're back, and today we're really going to dive deep into the world of PR,
Yeah.
specifically for startups. You
Yeah.
know, those companies out there that are, just starting out and really want to, you know,
Get that media
you
coverage.
get that media coverage exactly, and we're going to try to figure out how to really stand out
Yeah,
in this crazy media landscape, right?
totally. And especially for startups who are, just starting to build their brand,
Yeah.
it's so important to do it right from the beginning.
For sure, for sure. So we've got some great expert sources that we're going to be drawing on today and really give you some practical advice
Absolutely.
so you can avoid those pitfalls and actually get some results.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than pouring your heart and soul into a pitch
Right.
and then just hearing crickets.
Exactly.
So we're going to help you avoid that.
Exactly. And we're going to be kind of putting ourselves in the shoes of journalists
Yeah.
and, just figuring out what they really want.
Yeah.
What they really want. Because they hold the keys to the kingdom, right?
Exactly. Exactly. They're the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
So we need to really,
Understand them.
understand them. Yeah. And how to talk to them in a way that's going to resonate.
Yeah. And I think the first thing to keep in mind is just how much noise they're dealing with.
Right.
We all have inboxes that are overflowing.
Yeah.
But journalists' inboxes are like
Oh, yeah.
on another level.
I can only imagine.
One of the sources we looked at said that some journalists are getting like hundreds of pitches a day.
Oh, wow.
So you can see why it's so hard to break through.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why it's so important to really understand what they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you can't just be sending out like a generic press release and
Yeah.
expect anything.
No, it's got to be tailored. It's got to be interesting. It's
Yeah.
got to be relevant.
Yeah, it's got to grab their attention.
Yeah. And I think one of the best analogies I saw in the research was thinking about it like,
Like you're a chef in a busy kitchen.
okay,
Would you just stop everything to try somebody's random dish?
probably not. No.
No, especially if you're like in the middle of dinner rush.
Right in the weeds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So your pitch has to be like, okay, this is worth my time.
This is going to be.
This is going to be amazing. I'm going to love this.
Yeah. And it's going to fit into the menu, right?
Exactly.
Of what I'm already,
What you're already doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So what are some of the things that make a story really stand out?
Well, the sources we dove into highlight like 5 key elements that journalists are looking for.
5. Okay.
Yeah. And the first one is current issues.
Okay. So kind of like, hopping on, what's hot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like joining a conversation that's already happening,
Right.
instead of trying to start a whole new one that nobody's interested in.
Right.
It's like showing up to a party where everyone's talking about like the latest movie.
Right.
You're trying to talk about like your stamp collection.
Like nobody wants to hear that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, so you got to be relevant to what's going on right now.
Right. Right. But doesn't that feel a little opportunistic?
It can, if it's not done authentically.
Right.
But one of the sources, this was from an interview with like a really seasoned tech reporter,
Okay.
suggested kind of flipping the script instead of just adding to the noise,
Yeah.
position your startup as the solution
Okay.
to the problem that people are already talking about.
Oh, I see. So it's not just like,
Yeah,
we're riding the wave of this trend.
Right.
We're actually providing something of value.
exactly. You're adding to the conversation. You're
Yeah.
providing insight.
Okay.
So for instance, let's say there's a big debate about like the environmental impact of fast fashion.
Right.
If your startup is offering like a sustainable clothing alternative, that's a story.
Right.
You're not just another brand.
Right. You're part of the solution.
You're part of the solution. Exactly.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. All right. So ride the wave, but make sure you're actually offering something.
Yeah.
You
Be authentic, be genuine.
Yeah. What else can startups do to stand out?
Okay, so the next ingredient
Okay.
is data.
Okay.
And you might be thinking, well, my startup is new. We don't have years of data to share.
Yeah. And sometimes, data can feel
Dry.
dry. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
Mm.
One of the sources talked about this small health tech startup,
Okay.
and they commissioned this tiny study
Okay.
that revealed these surprising stats about sleep patterns in young adults.
Oh, okay.
And it got picked up by like all these national media outlets
Okay.
because it was something new, it's something interesting.
Yeah, so it's not just about stating the obvious. It's about actually providing like new insights.
Exactly. It's about uncovering something unique, something that people haven't heard before.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have to have your own massive research project.
No.
You can kind of draw on.
You can leverage existing data sets.
Oh,
You can analyze industry trends.
Right.
You can partner with research institutions.
Okay, so there's a lot of ways to get those unique insights.
Exactly. And it's so powerful because it adds credibility.
Yeah, especially like in today's world where opinions are everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know, it's like, okay,
You got to back it up.
show me the numbers.
Yeah. In God we trust, all others must bring data.
That's right.
But it's not just about like throwing numbers around.
Right.
It's about telling a story with that data,
Okay.
connecting those data points to the bigger picture.
Okay, so that kind of brings us to like
The next ingredient,
the next ingredient.
which is genuine insight.
Okay, so it's not just about like
Yeah.
stating facts and figures.
Right. It's about showing that you understand the issue
Yeah.
and that you have valuable insights to offer.
So kind of like being a thought leader.
Yes, exactly. Being a thought leader, not just a company with a product.
Right.
One of the articles actually quoted a journalist saying, I'm much more likely to take a startup seriously
Okay.
if they demonstrate a deep understanding of their industry
Mm-hmm.
and can offer solutions that go beyond the surface level.
Okay, so it's about really knowing your stuff.
Knowing your stuff
Yeah.
and being able to articulate it in a way that's helpful and insightful.
And that builds trust.
It builds trust, exactly.
Okay, so we've got current issues, we've got data,
Mm-hmm.
we've got genuine insight.
Yes.
What are the last two elements?
Okay, the last two are all about being bold
Okay.
and pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Okay. I like where this is going.
Yeah, we're talking about provocative commentary
Okay.
and timely predictions.
All right, so that sounds like, shaking things up a bit,
Exactly.
being disruptive.
Yeah, it's about challenging norms, sparking a debate.
Right.
Think about it. Have you ever read an article that totally shifted your perspective?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the power of provocative commentary.
Just like that aha moment. Yeah, and I was actually just reading an article
Oh, yeah.
about the future of work.
Okay.
And it totally challenged all my assumptions about traditional office structures.
Interesting.
And it was definitely thought-provoking, a little bit controversial even,
Yeah.
but it definitely got me thinking.
That's a great example. And the source material highlights how startups,
Mm-hmm.
with their unique vantage point and fresh perspective,
Right,
are often in a prime position to offer these kinds of insights.
right, because they're not kind of stuck in the old ways of doing things.
Exactly.
Right, but what about,
Yeah.
like being too provocative? Like,
Yeah.
is that
It's a balance.
risky?
It is. You don't want to alienate potential investors or customers.
Right.
So the key is to back up your claims with substance
Okay.
and to offer a clear rationale for your viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's about starting a conversation, not just picking a fight.
Right. So be bold,
Yes.
but be thoughtful.
Be thoughtful, exactly.
Okay. And then what about timely predictions?
Timely predictions.
Yeah.
This is about offering a glimpse into the future,
Okay.
anticipating trends, highlighting potential opportunities or challenges.
Okay. So you're kind of like,
Yeah.
giving journalists like a
crystal ball.
crystal ball. Yeah. And be like,
Yeah.
this is what could happen.
This
if-
is what could happen.
Yeah. Or this is what could happen if we don't do anything.
Exactly. And one of the sources actually quoted a journalist saying,
Okay.
I love pitches that offer a vision of the future.
Oh.
It's not just about reporting on what's happening now. It's about exploring what could be.
Right. So it makes it feel...
It makes it feel relevant beyond the immediate news cycle.
Right. So we've got tapping into current issues, we've got data, we've got genuine insight,
Yes.
we've got provocative commentary, and we've got timely predictions.
That's our 5 magic ingredients.
All right. I'm feeling like a PR wizard over here.
That's the spirit.
But
There's always a but.
there's always a but. Before we go casting any spells,
Yes.
we need to talk about those things
Yes.
that make journalists hit that delete button.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Faster than you can say media coverage.
That's right. So let's get into those PR no-nos.
Let's do it. All right, so now that we know what journalists are looking for, let's talk about those PR pitfalls.
Okay.
You know those things that make them hit delete faster than you can say media coverage?
Yeah, give it to me straight. What's the biggest PR sin?
The blatant sales pitch? You know the ones that read like a bad infomercial?
Yeah.
Our revolutionary, paradigm-shifting, game-changing product?
Okay, I can practically hear journalists everywhere cringing.
Right. They don't want a sales brochure.
They want a story.
They want a story, exactly. And one journalist we were reading about actually said,
Okay.
the minute I sense a pitch is just trying to sell me something,
Mm-hmm.
I lose interest.
Yeah, it's like a turnoff.
Total turnoff.
So how do we avoid that?
So instead of focusing on selling your product,
Yes.
focus on the problem you're solving.
Okay, so highlight the why,
The why, not the what.
not the what. Okay.
And that kind of leads us to the next big no-no,
Oh.
technical jargon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was reading this article the other day about some new AI technology. I swear I needed a dictionary just to understand the headline.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like you need a PhD just to understand what they're talking about.
It's so true, especially in the tech world.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in our own little bubble.
Right?
We forget that not everybody speaks our language.
Shouldn't we be, like, showcasing our expertise, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, isn't that part of thought leadership?
It is, but expertise shouldn't come at the expense of clarity.
Okay.
One of the experts actually suggested using the grandmother test.
The grandmother test.
Yeah, so if your grandmother can't understand it, it's probably too jargony.
I like that. That's a good one.
Right. Imagine you're explaining your startup to, like, your grandma, your neighbor.
Yeah, somebody who has no idea
No idea what you're talking about.
about your industry.
Right. Would they get it?
If not, simplify.
Simplify, exactly.
Okay, so we've covered salesy pitches, technical jargon.
Yeah.
What's the last one that sends journalists running?
Vanilla storytelling.
Vanilla storytelling. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's the kind of story that's just like a list of facts and figures, no personality.
Like Dracos?
Dry toast, exactly.
Yeah.
Think about the stories that really captivate you, whether it's a book, a movie, even a podcast.
Yeah, for me, I'm always hooked when there's like a sense of mystery,
Yeah.
a human element, something unexpected
It's those little details
Yeah.
that make a story come alive.
that make you want to keep reading.
Yes.
Okay, so how do we do that with our startup story?
It starts by asking the right questions.
Okay.
One of the sources we looked at suggested creating a pre-pitch checklist.
Okay, a pre-pitch checklist. I like it.
Yeah, it's about taking a step back and evaluating your story before you even think about pitching it to anybody.
Okay, so what's on this checklist?
First up, funding size.
Funding size.
Have you recently closed a big funding round
Okay.
or hit a major milestone? Because big numbers attract attention.
Yeah. Money talks?
Money talks, it's true,
That's right.
but it's not the only thing.
Okay.
Next item on the checklist is trend alignment.
Trend alignment.
How does your startup fit into the bigger picture?
Okay, so it's not just about us.
Okay.
It's about how we fit into the larger conversation.
A larger conversation, exactly.
What's happening in the world.
Exactly. So, for example, if there's a growing focus on AI and its impact on the workforce, and your startup is developing AI tools
Okay.
that help people upskill.
Okay. So you're part of the solution.
You're part of the solution, that's a story.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And then finally,
Okay.
the most important item on the checklist,
You with it?
uniqueness.
Uniqueness.
What sets your startup apart from the competition?
Yeah. Why should anyone care about our story?
Exactly. What makes you different?
What makes us special?
What's your unique approach?
Okay, so it's not enough to just be good.
No.
We have to be different.
You have to be different. You have to offer something that nobody else can.
Okay.
It's about finding that special sauce. That je ne sais quoi. That je ne sais quoi, exactly.
Okay, so we've got our pre-pitch checklist.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the actual pitch.
A pitch.
How do we craft a pitch that's really going to grab their attention?
Think of your pitch like a movie trailer.
Okay, I like that.
You need to hook the journalist's attention,
Okay.
give them a taste of the excitement, leave them wanting more.
Okay, so we're not sending them just a boring list of facts.
No.
We're giving them a narrative.
A narrative, a story,
Okay.
and just like a movie trailer,
Yeah.
your pitch should have a clear structure.
Okay.
Start by setting the scene.
Okay, so we're setting the stage.
Setting the stage, what's the current landscape? What problem are you addressing?
Okay, and then,
And then you introduce your protagonist,
which is?
your startup.
Okay, so we're the hero of the story.
You're the hero. Highlight your unique value proposition.
Okay.
How are you approaching this situation in a new and innovative way?
Okay.
And then you build suspense.
Okay. How do we do that?
Tease those key insights,
Uh-huh.
those data points that make your story newsworthy.
Okay, but don't give away the ending.
Don't give away the ending, just enough to pique their interest.
Okay, like a cliffhanger?
Like a cliffhanger, exactly.
Okay.
And then finally, end with a clear call to action.
A call to action.
What do you want the journalist to do?
Interview us.
Interview you, request a demo, attend an event.
Okay, so be clear about what we're asking for.
Clear and concise,
Okay, I like it.
and make sure it's tailored to the specific journalist.
Okay.
and publication that you're targeting.
Right, because it's not one size fits all.
It's not. You got to do your research.
Yeah.
Look at their recent articles.
Mm-hmm.
Their social media activity.
Yeah.
What are their areas of expertise?
What are they interested in?
Exactly. The more you can demonstrate that you understand their work,
Yeah.
the more likely they are to take you seriously.
Right, because it shows that we're not just like sending out mass emails.
Right.
We've actually taken the time to like look at their stuff.
Exactly. You're genuinely interested in connecting with them.
All right, so to recap,
Yes.
a killer pitch has a clear structure.
Yes.
It's concise, it's engaging, it shows personality,
Yes.
and it's tailored to the specific journalist.
That's it.
Okay. But even with all that,
Yeah.
it's still a process, right?
It is. It takes time. It takes effort.
It's persistence.
Persistence, yes.
So don't get discouraged if you don't hear back right away.
Exactly. Or if you get a few rejections.
Yeah,
It happens to the best of us.
that's right.
Just keep refining your pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Keep building relationships.
Yeah.
And keep sharing your story.
So speaking of resources, earlier we were talking about a platform
Yes.
where startups can gain exposure.
Yes, it's SG Trader's live broadcast channel.
Right.
They actually broadcast startup pitches
Wow.
to a huge audience.
That's a great opportunity
It is.
to get your name out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really inspiring to see platforms like that
Mm-hmm.
that are dedicated to supporting innovation.
Yeah. And it really does take a village.
It does.
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a startup.
And that actually reminds me of another important aspect of PR, community.
Community, yes.
Building that community of supporters.
Exactly. It's not just about getting media coverage. It's about building relationships with people who believe in your vision.
Yeah, you're advocates.
Your advocates, your champions.
And you know that actually brings us to our next point.
Okay.
It's all well and good to get your name out there,
Yeah,
but how do we actually make sure that translates into tangible results?
that's a great question.
What happens after that article is published?
Stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll be diving into exactly that.
All right, can't wait. Welcome back to the show. And, we've been talking a lot about PR.
Yeah.
How to get those media mentions, craft those killer pitches.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's all well and good to get your name out there.
Right.
But how do we actually make sure that translates into,
Results.
tangible results? Yeah, what happens after that article is published?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Getting that media coverage is just the first step.
Okay.
The real work starts when you use that exposure to drive real business outcomes.
So it's about turning those headlines into customers. Investors. And
Brand advocates.
brand advocates, exactly.
So it's not just buzz.
It's not just about the hype.
Yeah.
It's about making a real impact on your bottom line.
And one of the sources we were looking at,
Yeah.
they had this really cool analogy.
Okay.
They described media coverage as a spark.
The spark.
It kind of ignites that interest and awareness.
But it's up to you to fan those flames into a
Sustainable fire.
sustainable fire. I love that.
Yeah.
So how do we keep those flames burning bright?
So the first step is pretty simple.
Okay.
Amplify your coverage.
Okay, so don't just let it sit there.
Don't let it sit there gathering dust.
Yeah.
Share it, shout it from the rooftops.
Literally.
Well, maybe not literally,
Yeah.
but, post it on social media, put it on your website, include it in your newsletters.
Make it easy for people to find.
Yeah, make it easy to find, easy to share.
Yeah, and don't be shy about celebrating.
Celebrate those wins.
Those wins, exactly.
And one PR expert we were reading about had some really interesting ideas,
Okay.
like turning articles into shareable graphics
Oh, okay.
or creating short video snippets,
Okay.
highlighting key quotes,
Yeah, so you're kind of
repurposing that content, yeah,
stretching it out,
stretching it out,
reaching different audiences.
different formats, different audiences. It's all about maximizing that exposure. And another powerful strategy is to use media coverage as social proof.
Oh, okay.
Feature those logos.
From those big publications.
Yeah, those reputable sources.
Yeah.
Put them on your website, your marketing materials, even your pitch deck.
It's like a stamp of approval.
Exactly. It's like
Wow.
saying, hey, look, these people believe in us.
We're legit.
We're legit. Exactly.
I like that.
And don't forget about relationship building.
Okay.
Reach out to those journalists who have covered you.
Thank them.
Thank them.
Keep them in the...
Keep them in the loop, yeah.
Okay, so nurture those connections.
Nurture those connections.
Build that network.
Because you never know when you might need them again.
That's right. PR is not a one-time thing.
No. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right. It's an ongoing process.
Yeah, and it requires consistency, creativity.
Understanding your audience.
Yes, knowing who you're talking to.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what are some of those key takeaways?
When it comes to PR for startups,
Mm-hmm.
it really boils down to understanding your audience,
Okay.
crafting compelling stories, and building meaningful connections.
So it's not just about getting attention.
Right, yeah.
It's about actually, like, using PR strategically.
Using PR strategically to achieve your business goals.
And that actually reminds me of something we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
In a world that's so saturated.
With noise.
With noise.
With hype.
Yeah. Authenticity is key.
It's your superpower.
So for our listener out there,
Yeah.
who's ready to take on the PR world, what's the one question you want them to ask themselves?
If a journalist were to write about your startup tomorrow,
Okay.
what headline would you want to see?
That's a great question.
It forces you to think about your core message.
Yeah. What do we really stand for?
What is your unique value proposition?
And what the impact we want to make.
Exactly.
So as you embark on this PR journey,
Yeah.
remember, the world needs your story.
Tell it with passion, tell it with purpose.
And watch those sparks fly.
Watch those sparks fly.
All right, that's a wrap on our deep dive into PR for startups.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you found it valuable
Yeah.
and feel empowered to go out there and tell your story.
Tell your story.
Until next time, keep diving deep